Right, we are back. So many of you have already tuned in and watched hashtag 192, where we created our own dipping resin really easily. So in today's video, it's it's mainly inspired by an awesome channel that I've just binge watched a couple of videos. I urge you to go and follow if you're doing this dipping resin stuff. It's Sun DIY Day. I'll pop the channel link in the description box below. So it's inspired by them. I'm going to kind of copy one of their videos. I'm being risky and I'm going to try this with sterling silver. If it goes wrong, then it's expensive. Now this is a half round, so I'm hoping it's going to work. So it's flat on one side and it's curved on the top. And I do have my new pots, which you've probably seen in some other videos where I've been testing putties, epoxy resin putties. So I'm gonna again, it's gonna be a risk. I'm gonna mix up a big pot of my dipping resin, and yeah, I really hope this is gonna work. But the good thing about these is that we can store these away and the UV light won't penetrate through and cure the resin, so we can use them whenever we need them. So I am using a rather large clear hard type UV resin from Let's Resin, and I am just going to go all in. This is going to take me a little while. I could just take the nozzle off, I suppose, and glug it out. That would be the easier option, wouldn't it? Oh, this is going to be risky. I don't want to go too crazy. And again, out comes the colossal bottle of Elmer's clear glue, which is going to take me an eternity to get through. And remember, start off with tiny amounts. You've seen how little of the glue we need compared to the resin. It really is a minimal amount. And the second you enter that glue into the resin, you'll see it start to thicken. Now you can add too much. So start with less is best because you can't take it out. So add little by little until you've got that consistency. I mean, you can see just how gloopy that is already, but it's not thoroughly mixed in. So I need to just thoroughly mix this in and then let it sit for a little while with the lid on, just to make sure any of the bubbles, you'll see just that tiny amount has really changed the viscosity of the UV resin. So yeah, just let it sit, pop the cap on and just let the air bubbles rise from mixing. I'm using a paintbrush. I don't want to risk using a wooden stirrer just because I know that's going to mix in more bubbles. And as you would if you're mixing your epoxy, you also want to scrape around the edge and make sure that glue is fully mixed in. So just to show you how cheap, really quickly, how cheap this is to make. So this here is, say, $50 for 1,000 grams. Now I have here an empty pot. I've taken the clear bit out as well. So if I zero that, this is the pot that I've just mixed up. So that the total amount of resin in there is, say, 60 grams. I'm just double checking that. 59. Yeah, so it's 59 to, yeah, there you go, 60 grams. So that means we can make 16 pots of dipping resin. So if we divide the $50 by 16, that means that this has cost, I think, if my maths is correct, $3.10 per pot to make. I mean, you've got the price of the PVA glue and the pots, but that's absolutely incredible. Did I do that math right? Let me know in the comments. And the pots I got in the UK were £12.99 for 20. So that is still really cheap. If I can find these in the US, I'll pop the link in the description with everything else. And this wire, in case you're wondering, is 18 gauge flat, half round, not flat, half round. One thing I missed out is I'm going to make it white like they did in their, well, they used white in their video. So I'm just using a tiny amount of white pigment paste. and I'm just going to mix that thoroughly in. I did a little bit more, again tiny amounts, because this could also prevent the UV resin from curing, so little by little. Just getting there. And if you're wondering about the price of the pigment paste, I did make this in #177, and that again is really cheap to make. I think that's as far as I want to go. If you do accidentally go too much, you could always add a bit more resin, I suppose, but then you may need to add a tiny bit more PVA glue, depending. But you want this kind of, this viscosity, really thick and gloopy. So I've cut a strip of my wire. It's 11 inches, just because I really don't know how much I'm gonna need. And I've got my ringamy thing. So by wrapping the wire around this will determine the size of each petal. So if you want bigger petals, you're going to work your way up on the mandrel. And I want small ones, so I'm going to leave a tail because I don't know how I'm going to finish it yet. I'm just going to wrap my wire around without twisting it, because it is half round. I don't want to twist it. I'm going to wrap that round 5 times. So you see that we've got 5 wraps in total, and I've just got both of the tails around the back and I'm holding them together. You'd be better doing this with round wire, because it's flat. When I twist it, it's not going to look right, but I can finish that off afterwards. So we're just twisting those tails around just to keep everything in place. It's not going to give the best finish, but I will I will make it work. So there we have the 5 wrap and the twist at the back. So we can now take that off, and this is what we have. What I'm doing now is I'm just clamping that end down, and I'm just going to keep twisting until I've got a nice twist on the whole of that length. Now with the 5 wires together, I'm just going to shape the petals in one go. With my round pliers, I'm just adding a point like so to the tip of the petals by pushing those wires down around it. So we have that shape, and then I'm just going to move them a tiny bit down to the side, clamp them and push the wire to shape that side, and then I'm going to repeat that on the other side also. So that is the shape that we are left with. So now one by one we just open these out. I really don't know what I'm doing at this stage. I'm following a video, but it doesn't show everything perfectly. So what I want to do is fan these out into a flower head shape. But I don't know which way to go. This is great, Daniel. This is great. Why is it not working? I think they have to be twisted in a certain way, don't they? The video doesn't show how. I'm going to persevere. You can see it's kind of unraveling. Am I getting there? Not really. Yeah, no, I was right. I just needed to shape it a little bit more in the middle. So what they did next was they just bent the petals over to create almost like a closed flower head. Once we've got the dipping resin on there, it's going to hold everything together. The problem is definitely because I'm using a half round wire. 100%, if that was round, I'd be able to control these a lot better. And this time I've raised my lamp up high enough. Just propped it. Right, let's just do this. I'm hoping I can make something good of it, and I'm hoping it's going to work. Is it working? I might take a couple of dips. I might have to put some more PVA glue in there because of the white pigment may have adjusted it. So it's sticking to some, but but not all of them. So a bit more glue. This is where you should do some trial runs before you commit to making a video on YouTube sometimes. But only by showing where we're going wrong can we all learn together, so it's a good thing. That is much better. It's a lot thicker. Let's see that. It's just a case of just working off the excess, just allowing that excess to fall off, otherwise you're going to be left with really messy inside. So just allow all of that excess to fall off. It's working much better now. Still a bit too much on there. Come on. Good thing about these pots as well is that you can just scrape it on the side. That's much better. Is that still too much though? No, I'm just going to cure that. So I'm going to turn it as I'm doing it. It's probably a bit too much in there still, but let's move that pot, otherwise it's going to set inside. So we have one petal that's been a bit stubborn and it's sticking up, but as you can tell, it has cured. So I need to make another one of these now, and then we're going to add a little bit of colour. So I can make these. The idea is I'm going to make them into earrings, but that is really pretty. A little bit too much in the middle, but we can hide some of that. They're going to be like drop earrings. So the second one actually only took less than 5 minutes to make. Once I'd done the first one, it was a lot quicker. So I'm just shaking some dark magenta mica powder into my mixing cup, and I'm just going to add some colour manually. But as mentioned in that previous video of mine, you could mix up separate pots of different colours if you wanted to go that far. But I think the white base, and we can just do this puff of mica. We can just do this manually. And then I'm just going to apply that purple. I don't know whether to do the whole petal or just the base of each petal. Let me cure it and see. You're probably shouting out, just the base, just the base. I don't know. I think I'm going to cure that and just see what it looks like, I suppose. And have like a 2 colour. It didn't look right, so I took it right up, but I'm only going in with a faint, really thin layer. There you go. Okay, so I've given them a minute water cure as well. So if yours is sticky after dipping and curing, just remember to do the 1 minute curing water, just because of the oxygen inhibition and gets rid of that stickiness on the resin. So now I have these earring hoops. So I think I'm going to keep it very basic. You can do this however you want. I'm going to cut down the stems, curl them with my rounded pliers, and then just twist these and hook them on. Yeah, if you move that ball upwards, you can just twist those open. So I've cut them down to a size, and I'm just curling that around. So I do want a little bit of a drop on the actual earring itself. And there we have them. I think they are super cute. I really like them, and they are quick and easy. Most of the video was made up for making the dipping lotion, and we had a bit of a struggle here and there, but I'm really happy with these. As always, massive shout out to my channel members, anyone who's bought me a coffee or a super thanks. Don't forget to hit the like button, drop me a comment, even if it's a smiley face, and if you haven't subscribed, it is free. Check out all my other videos. And I love them. I absolutely love them. I'll get some better photos, pop them on my Facebook page. Be sure to go and follow me over there. And I will see you for the next one. Bye for now.